All right. Hello, I'm Corey Strege with Pioneer Metal Finishing. I'm the market leader for the medical device sector for Pioneer. I'm joined today with Steve Goodsett, our corporate product manager. We're joining you virtually today to talk about medical device finishes, specifically for those requiring functional aesthetic finishes. This is a series of video vignettes we're recording specifically for the medical device sector with a focus on surface engineering. So I'm going to ask Steve a series of questions today, specifically related to aesthetic finishes for medical devices. And note that we'll be accompanying this video with a series of other related topics in the near future to include webinars, white papers, and other supportive information. So with that, I'm going to jump right in and begin my questions to Steve, and we'll see where this conversation goes. So Steve, let's start the conversation with a definition of functional aesthetics. How do you define that?
Well, for me, Corey, anything aesthetic means what we can see with our eyes. And the functioning of the visuals of a product are critical, not only from the standpoint of being pleasing and branding, but also to help the product do what it's supposed to do more effectively and more efficiently. Some of the things that jump into my mind as far as something visual about a product is what's the color of it. And in the medical industry, like other industries, that color can also have a real functional purpose as far as identifying the product, especially in the implants, the titanium components. Different colored products denote which part number it actually is for another layer of safety. There's also the ability to take products and do different markings on them so that the parts are used properly. Directions on use, where a part fits into a tray that holds sterilization, for sterilization, holds the different tools in the operating. And it can be done in a manner of ways. So whether the marking is done with a laser or sublimation, it has to be very exact as well. So it's a very functional thing. The surface finish of the product can also have a standard aesthetic impact, such as I want something that's polished and shiny because that will also look really snappy. But at the same time, it also could be helpful in how a product works as far as it needs to reflect something, or just the opposite. The product might need a very dull finish so that there is no reflection. And then at the same time, a smooth finish that's shiny also is more lubrous. It could be more corrosion resistant. It could aid in reducing wear. And to the opposite of that, a rough finish could also be a grippy type finish and improve traction on a product. But overall, when we look at how to use aesthetics, we've got to make sure that we understand what our customer is looking for. And sometimes it could just be making sure that the branding is there, that the customer's product stands out from other people's because of a color scheme.
Steve, I wonder if you could share with me kind of the four basic categories of types of functional aesthetics normally used for metal base material medical devices. And note that for our audience, that on the Surface Engineering Academy's website, we have a number of really interesting and very thoroughly done videos and white papers that go through in great detail examples of what is anodizing for aluminum, what are the process steps, what materials are related to things like this, et cetera. So maybe keep it at a fairly high level for our audience, but walk through at a deep enough level that makes sense in terms of what the options are for medical.
Yeah, so let's start with conversion coatings, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, both aluminum and titanium are very valuable metals to use. They're lightweight and they're strong. Titanium stronger than aluminum. Titanium can be anodized. You can do a conversion coating to it where you can impart color on it for identification of products. And then there's also a more functional as far as performance, wear resistance, and lubricity version of titanium anodizing. Aluminum, again, at a high level, is a light metal that can be machined easily, formed into shapes, but because it's soft, it's great that the conversion coating, the anodizing of aluminum puts on a hard layer, and it creates a wear-resistant finish that also can be colored a much larger palette than the titanium anodizing. So in this case, we can add wear resistance to the aluminum and also resistance to different chemicals, including sterilization while doing the coloring, which could be either for color identification, but also for branding and just overall general aesthetics. Another important area for functional aesthetic coatings are the metallic type finishes. There's different plating processes that are offered. The electroless nickel plating process is designed really well for the medical industry. Just like the anodized coatings, they have approvals for direct contact to skin, and in some cases even can be implantable. Electroless nickel is a very hard wear-resistant coating. The downside, though, is that in it being a metallic finish, you're normally going to just get a silvery appearance. So it's harder to do color identification and specific branding from that standpoint. There is the process of electropolishing where you can take stainless steel and get a very shiny finish. PVD coatings are out there, vapor deposition coatings, physical vapor deposition. They offer a wide array of colorings and things that are getting closer to anodizing and electroless nickel as far as wear resistance, but not near, not as good in that area. The downside, though, with the PVD coatings is because of the nature of the process, it's more difficult to do large production runs, and thus the pricing, the cost goes up. Just the painting and powder coating and general spray type painting are available. They come in a variety of colors and finishes and textures. The downside to paint coatings, they're even softer than the vapor deposition coatings. Once you get into a soft coating, if there's any sort of scratching or wear going on, then you can bust through the coating. There's more potential for creep type corrosion than in this case. Is a real big advantage of the conversion coatings for aluminum and titanium is by their nature, they're inherent to the base metal, and you don't have the concerns with the coating coming off like you do with paints, PVDs, and plated coatings. Once these coatings are in place, then marking can be done, whether that's lasering the coating off to do instructions on a device or describe what the device is for, where parts are placed in the device. Also, sublimation is available, works very well with the anodized aluminum anodizing. You can go into the initial porosity and put down a permanent image. And then just overall screen and pad printing can be done to all these different finishes.